There is a number that changes the entire direction of a person's financial life, and almost nobody talks about it. It is not $1 million. It is not retirement. It is $100,000 sitting untouched in an account with your name on it. Financial researchers have pointed out something strange for years. The jump from $0 to $100,000 is statistically the hardest stretch of wealth building a person will ever go through. Harder than the jump after that. Harder than doubling it. Harder than doubling it again. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this, you will understand exactly why that first number is so brutal and exactly what stands in your way before you even realize it is happening. Most people never reach it, not because they do not earn enough, but because three invisible walls get in front of them one after another, and almost nobody points them out. 1. The comfort spending trap. The first wall shows up quietly, and it does not look dangerous at all. It looks like a coffee. It looks like a subscription you forgot about. It looks like a delivery order at 11 at night after a long day. None of these things feel like a decision about your future. They feel like nothing. That is exactly the trap. A $5 coffee every weekday is not $5. It is closer to $1,800 a year once you count the small food orders and the little extras that ride along with it. Stretch that pattern across 10 years, and you're looking at $18,000 that quietly disappeared without a single memorable purchase to show for it. This is sometimes called small leak spending, and it is dangerous for one specific reason. It never triggers alarm. Nobody feels guilty about a coffee. But here is the question that should stop you cold right now. If that same money had gone into an account earning a normal market return instead of a paper cup, would you still be watching this without doing the math in your head? Comfort spending is not evil. It is just invisible. And invisible spending is the number one reason smart, hard-working people stay stuck at zero for years. 2. The debt that feels like progress. The second wall is more dangerous because it disguises itself as success. This is the wall of financed lifestyle. A car payment that feels normal because everyone around you has one. A credit card balance that feels manageable because the minimum payment is small. A big purchase justified because you deserve it after a hard month. Here is what almost nobody explains clearly. The moment you finance a depreciating item, you are not building wealth. You are renting the feeling of wealth while quietly paying interest to somebody else's bank account. A brand new vehicle loses a significant chunk of its value the moment it leaves the lot. And then you spend years paying interest on a number that was already shrinking the day you signed. Compare that to someone driving a paid-off, reliable used vehicle who redirects that same monthly payment into an investment account instead. 10 years later, one person owns an asset that grew. The other person owns a car that is worth a fraction of what they paid, and they are already financing the next one. Which person do you think is closer to their first $100,000? This is not about never enjoying nice things. It is about understanding the difference between an asset, which can put money back into your pocket, and a liability, which quietly pulls money out of it every single month, whether you notice or not. 3. The patience problem. The third wall is the hardest one because it lives entirely inside your own head. Psychologists call it delayed gratification, and it is one of the most studied concepts in behavioral science for a reason. Your brain is wired to want a reward now, not later. That is not a character flaw, that is biology. But wealth building requires you to override that wiring on purpose, over and over again for years, often without anyone clapping for you along the way. Picture two people who each get an unexpected $50,000. One spends it within a year on upgrades, trips, and things that feel good in the moment. The other places it into an account and does not touch it. 5 years later, the first person has memories and nothing else. The second person has an asset that has grown quietly in the background while they went on with their normal life. Neither person is smarter than the other. The difference is that one of them tolerated the discomfort of waiting and the other one did not. Here's the part that should genuinely shift how you see this. Every dollar you do not spend today is not a sacrifice. It is a decision to let your future self have options that your present self will never see the benefit of directly. That is a strange kind of generosity toward a person you have not become yet. The real math nobody shows you. Now let us put actual numbers on the table because vague advice does not change behavior. Math does. Say you consistently redirect around $400 a month away from the small leaks and the financed lifestyle habits we just talked about, and you place it into a normal diversified investment account instead. At a historically reasonable average return, that habit alone can put you past $100,000 within roughly 12 to 14 years without a single lucky break, without a bonus, without a raise, just consistency. Now, here is the twist that most people miss completely. The first $25,000 of that journey will feel painfully slow. The next $25,000 will feel faster. And the final stretch toward $100,000 will feel like it is accelerating almost on its own. That is not an accident, and it is not luck either. That is compounding quietly, doing the heaviest lifting once there is enough money in the account to start generating its own growth. Most people quit during the slow part because nobody warned them the slow part was normal. You are being warned right now. The slow part is not proof that it is not working. The slow part is the price of admission. How wealthy people actually think about money. People who build lasting wealth are not necessarily smarter, and they are usually not luckier. They simply sort every purchase into one of two categories before they buy it. Does this put money back into my pocket over time, or does this quietly take money out of my pocket over time? A rental property, a retirement account, a business that generates income, these fall into the first category. A depreciating vehicle bought on credit, a closet full of items worn once, a subscription nobody remembers signing up for, these fall into the second category. The uncomfortable truth is that most people never consciously make this distinction, so their money drifts wherever convenience and marketing push it. Companies spend billions of dollars every single year engineering the feeling that you need something right now. That feeling is not an accident. It is a business model, and it is specifically designed to separate you from the exact money that could have been building your first $100,000. Once you can see that pattern, you cannot unsee it, and that alone changes how you spend for the rest of your life. The simple move that separates savers from spenders. There is one practical action that consistently separates people who actually build savings from people who only intend to. Open a separate account, one that is not connected to your everyday debit card or your favorite shopping apps, and the moment your paycheck arrives, move a fixed amount into it before you do anything else with the rest. This single habit removes the biggest obstacle in personal finance, which is willpower. You are not relying on discipline every single day to say no to spending. You are relying on one decision made once that quietly protects your future without requiring daily motivation. People who wait to save whatever is left over at the end of the month almost never build anything because there is rarely anything left. People who pay themselves first almost always end up surprised by how much they have accumulated within a few years because the money was never available to spend in the first place. Why this number matters more than you think. Here is why crossing this specific number changes everything that comes after it. Once you have real money working in the background, opportunities start looking different. A market downturn stops looking like a disaster and starts looking like a chance to buy in at a lower price. An emergency stops looking like a financial crisis and starts looking like an inconvenience you can absorb. A career risk, a business idea, a chance to walk away from a toxic job. All of these become possible in a way they simply are not when your entire financial life is one unexpected bill away from collapse. That is the real prize hiding behind that number. It was never really about the number itself. It was about the freedom to make decisions from a position of strength instead of a position of fear. The three walls we talked about today, comfort spending, financed lifestyle, and the patience problem, are the exact same three walls standing between you and that freedom right now. None of them require more income to solve. All three of them only require awareness and one decision made consistently over time. The people who make it past this point are not the people who got lucky. They are the people who simply refused to stay comfortable a little bit longer than everyone else was willing to. What to do in the next 24 hours. Knowledge without action changes nothing. So here is exactly what separates the people who watched this and forgot it from the people who watched this and used it. Before today ends, open your banking app and set up one automatic transfer, even if it is small, moving straight into a separate savings or investment account the day your next paycheck lands. Do not wait for the perfect amount or the perfect month, because the perfect moment to start does not exist and never has. Then take 5 minutes and look honestly at one recurring expense you have been avoiding, a payment, a subscription, a habit, and ask yourself which category it belongs in, the asset side or the liability side. You do not need to fix your entire financial life in one sitting. You only need to move one step past where you were an hour ago. Every single person who eventually crossed that first $100,000 mark started on a day that looked completely ordinary, with one small transfer they almost talked themselves out of making. Do not talk yourself out of it today.